Welcome to Libby's Low Carb Lounge, and today we're in search of some low carb products at Peet's Coffee. Now, coffee shops have become a gathering place all over the world, and it certainly is in the United States and really certainly on the West Coast. We have a lot of coffee snobs, myself included in that camp, just like connoisseurs of wine. So, are there any low carb drinks inside of this place? Well, probably not low carb foods very much in numbers. So, there are a few, but we're not going to talk about the foods today. We're going to talk about how you can order a drink that's low carb and still have a great tasting drink in a coffee shop to keep away from the high carb drinks that will tank your diet. So, here's the menu. We can just kind of look up there and see that, well, a frozen mudslide and a frozen Oreo cookie and a frozen fruit smoothie, all of those, you know right off the bat, are going to be really high in carbs. You might as well be at Dairy Queen. But there are a number of other sneaky little drinks up there that you might not think are astronomically high in carbs, which are. So let's take a look. They are just drinks, right? How bad could they be? Well, prepare yourself because I think you're going to be shocked. Here are the more common coffee drinks that can be found in nearly any coffee shop and most people already know about. So let's just take a look at those. Cafe latte. This is an espresso shot or more, and there's steamed milk with a tiny bit of foam on the top, and that's a latte. Now, for reference point, at Peet's Coffee, a small is a 12 ouncer, medium 16 ounce, and large is 20 ounce. So when you're looking at small, medium, or large, that's how much milk you're looking or volume you're looking at. All right, so a small cafe latte has 15 grams of carbs for milk and soy, any kind of milk, and for soy or almond milk, it's 10 grams of net carbs per small drink. That's a pretty hefty amount when you would think that it would be very benign. How about a medium? It goes up to 20, and on the soy and almond up to 15. Well, it's kind of shocking, isn't it? And why is that? It's because of the milk inside of that volume of milk that's used for that drink. Is all because it's milk. And in milk, the sugar is lactose. It just naturally comes that way. They're not adding sugar, but it naturally has sugar in it, which is lactose. Here's a cafe mocha. So you might be thinking, oh, okay, it's got a little bit of chocolate in it, so it's probably going to add a few carbs. Can't be bad, right? Think again. Let's take a look. That drink is now gone from 15 grams of net carbs for a small to 35 grams of net carbs because of the chocolate syrup that they throw tons of sugar in. They're not using dark chocolate that usually has less carbs in it. So that is a huge amount of carbs. That's a small. Now the 16 ouncer, the medium, is 40 grams. If you're even getting soy or almond milk, look at the medium there, 35 grams, 30 if it's a small. Yikes, that is a lot of carbs. I'm sure you're not expecting that. Look at the large, the 20 ouncer, which is comparable to a Venti at Starbucks. 50 grams for just a mocha. It's ridiculous. Look, the soy and almond milk aren't much better at 45 grams of net carbs. Remember in a coffee shop that they use sweetened soy, almond, or even hemp milk if you can find it. They are always sweetened because unsweetened is not something that people generally ask for in a coffee shop. So beware of those. How about the one that has sugar-free chocolate? Now look at that label. It says sugar-free chocolate. So we're only dealing with sugar-free chocolate syrup. Well, on a mocha, they put whipped cream, which normally doesn't have sugar in it, but in these coffee shops, they do. So you're adding sugar there, plus sugar in that milk. So, and then there's chocolate drizzle usually on the top. That drink only goes to 35 to 36 grams of net carbs for a small with sugar-free chocolate in it. And if you're a small, if you go to a medium, it's 42 to 43. And it's still high for the soy and almond milk. So beware of sugar-free marketing. Sugar-free does not mean carb-free. Beware of that. How about a sugar-free vanilla? All right, maybe that's not as high in carbs as a chocolate. Let's take a look. Well, that's a whole lot better, still higher than what you want to drink, but basically a small will now go, and really the reason is they're not putting whipped cream and chocolate syrup on the top. In addition, they're just using straight up sugar-free vanilla along with the latte. So basically this goes to 10 grams of net carbs for a small, and a medium 20. And soy or almond milk, you can see up there a small is 5 to 10 grams of carbs, or 10 to 15 if you're getting a medium. Again, beware. Sugar-free does not mean carb-free. Just for grins and giggles, let's take a look at this vanilla cafe Fredo. It's a little shock value here, but here's the nutritional information for that. They only come in a 16 ounce or a 20 ounce. Carb bomb, 65 grams of net carbs straight across the board, and look at the sugars. It's all sugar. That is one to run screaming from. Now, their light version, let's see, light. Well, maybe that means that's going to be a whole lot less sugar. Let's take a look. I don't think so. A little less, barely less, from 65 to 55, but still, that's nearly 2 days worth of carbs that I eat in that one drink. It makes your blood sugar go up through the roof. It still has astronomical carbs. And remember, light usually refers to light fat and not light sugar. Well, I've shown you all these drinks that you can't have. Well, what about what you can have? Is there anything other than just black coffee that you could have? Yes, let's take a look. Caff Macchiato is espresso with a little steamed foam on the top, and it comes at their facility in a single, double, or a triple. Sounds hopeful. Not much milk on it. Maybe that's doable. And yes, it is. Only for a double, only one carb, either whether it's milk, non-fat, 2% whole milk, soy, or almond. That's more like it. So you can add that to your list of drinks you can have. And it's a great drink. It's really good. Now, what if we think that we'll do ourselves a favor if we get just a little bit of caramel on there? A little bit shouldn't make a difference, right? Well, look at that drink. It's no longer an espresso drink. It is now more latte-like, and it has caramel swirled all over the top of it. Now, here's what happens when you do that. That one carb drink now, for a small, goes to 45 to 50 grams of carbs, depending on the kind of milk you get, or from 50 to 60 if it's a medium. So it's an incredible amount of carbs that are added when you add a flavoring like caramel and add a lot more milk. And really on this, it's the caramel that's the biggest culprit. Well, how about a cafe au lait, which is basically brewed coffee with steamed milk in it? It's popular in France and has gained popularity all over the world. So it comes in small, medium, and large. What do you think about that? Let's take a look. Not too bad. There's basically not tons of milk in it, and because it's a brewed coffee, there's a whole lot more volume that's actually coffee in that cup. So there's not a whole lot of milk in that cup. So a small is 5 grams of net carbs. If you're using soy or almond milk, 0. If you go to a medium, you're looking at 5 grams still, but that increases with the larger volume of soy and almond milk. So that's another one you can have. So cafe au lait and cafe macchiato, not the caramel macchiato. So along those same lines, let's think about a cappuccino. Well, it's similar to a cafe au lait, but instead you're using espresso shots, which are concentrated coffee in a small amount, and the rest of that cup is filled up with, guess what? Steamed milk and a little foam on the top. So how much difference does that make with the carbs? A fair amount, actually. It's in the milk. It's the lactose in the milk that adds carbs, and you're adding more volume of that cup with milk instead of with coffee. So that becomes a 10-gram carbohydrate drink, unless you're using soy or almond milk. And then a medium would become a 10, but also you can see that carbs are added with soy and almond milk because you're increasing the volume. So the milk makes the difference. So what you could have is an Americano, espresso, or black coffee, which are respectively, an Americano is an espresso shot that the rest of the cup is filled up with water, boiling water. Espresso is just a tiny amount of concentrated coffee. And then, of course, black coffee is brewed and not an espresso shot. But all of those have the same carb and nutritional information, which is nothing except 5 calories for a small. So that's your base to work with. Now, what else can we put in that? Half and half. Now, I know a lot of you are dropping your jaw and thinking, all that fat? Yes, all that fat. Because when you have concentrated half and half, you need very, very little of it to color your coffee the way you want it to look. There's no science to how much milk you put in coffee. It's the way it looks. If you use a non-fat milk, you need nearly a cup to make it look the way that you want it to look because it's really thin and watery. If you use half and half, you are probably not going to need more than a tablespoon, if even that, to make it look the way you want it to look. And the nutrition facts for cream is per tablespoon, 0.6 grams of carbohydrates. So that is a perfect thing to put in your coffee, and it tastes great too. And it has a little bit of fat in it, which makes you feel full. So what have we learned today at Peet's? Know the nutrition facts. If any of you have basically done weight loss with me, you've heard this over and over and over and over. Know the nutrition facts. It can make a huge difference. Things that you think might not have a lot of carbs in them actually do. So when you're out in a coffee shop, the best things to choose are an Americano, espresso, Caff Macchiato, Cafe Au Lait, or just black coffee. And if you're going to add milk product, add half and half, not any type of milk. You only need a little bit. Remember, whole milk has 11 grams of net carbs per cup naturally, just comes that way out of the cow. Non-fat has 14 grams of carbs. When they remove the fat, the carb amount, the lactose amount goes up. Remember this fact when you're thinking about milks. Soy and almond milk at a coffee shop are always sweetened. I have never seen any place that uses unsweetened soy or almond milk or hemp milk, even though you can buy it in a grocery store. And each of those have 1 to 2 grams of net carbs per cup. And coconut milk is in that camp too. Not the type in the can, but in the dairy case. So you can purchase it at a store to make your coffees at home, but never in a coffee shop. Real important point, sugar-free does not mean carb-free, ever. When they're marketing sugar-free, beware, that is deceptive. It is not carb-free. It just means they're not adding sugars. There may be naturally tons of sugars in that product, like fruit, for example, has tons of carbs in it, but they're not adding any, but it just comes with a lot of carbs. So sugar-free does not mean carb-free. Beware of hidden carbs. They are everywhere and in places that you least expect them.